Hello and welcome to yet another Adrenalin Shot, your short, sharp injection of something valuable. Now, some of you might remember that a few months ago I had Alicia Beverley with me talking about intellectual property, and we ran out of time at the time. So I've invited Alicia back again to have another conversation with us so that we can fill out what we missed out on last time. So welcome again, Alicia.
Thank you.
For those of you who didn't see the previous interview, Alicia is a trademark attorney. She's an award-winning presenter and entrepreneur who's also written extensively about intellectual property for over 20 years. She's spoken to hundreds of top Australian and New Zealand business leaders on the topics of trademarks, copyright, patents, designs, confidential information, and IP legal agreements. Her new firm, KOMO IP, provides IP protection solutions and is Australia's only developer of online IP training courses. So we'll find out a bit more about that as well. Now, Alicia, when we got cut short last time, one of the things that we had wanted to talk about was some myths surrounding intellectual property. Can I get you to elaborate on that for us?
That's right. So there are two myths that seem to have endured from pretty much the early 1990s when I started in intellectual property all the way to literally right now. And the first one is that most business people think that business and company names equal trademarks, and they are not the same. And I'll elaborate on that. And the second one is that if you pay for IP, you own it. And unfortunately, that is not the same. You might have the right to use it. In fact, the commissioning of that IP will most certainly have given you the right to use it. But owning it could be a very different proposition. So in terms of explaining why business and company names are not trademarks, the reason for that is because a business name and a company name relate to laws and regulations having to do with the trade or trading. So a business name, of course, is about the right to trade in your state. And a company name relates to the Corporations Act and has a whole slew of pages dedicated to activities of Australian corporations, Australian proprietary limiteds, for instance. A trademark is an exclusive monopoly over whatever that trademark is in the goods and or services that you've protected in. And there are 45 goods and service classes, that's the technical term, and 34 of those relate to goods. Any manner of good you can possibly think of that is traded hands in some way is going to be captured in those 34 classes. And there are 11 service classes. So in some way or other, your business activity is going to fall within those classes. And that's the process of registering a trademark. Searching the official register, finding that your trademark is available, making applications, and then not before 7.5 months, because that's the minimum time, actually being granted a registered trademark, which is effectively a federal monopoly.
I remember going through the process myself.
Yes,
and hunting for what class.
And I'm often asked, well, what should be that process? The process really should be, to be honest, check the registered trademarks database before you even go about getting a business or company name. Now, a business or a company name over time can accrue common law rights as a trademark. In other words, you've used it for so many years that there's a certain amount of goodwill and reputation associated with that trademark. And therefore, if you went to file your trademark and for some reason someone else had either the same or a very similar trademark for similar goods or services, by being able to demonstrate your long time use, you might be able to get it over the line and attain registration. They really are very separate things. So I do caution business people, particularly startups. I see this on a regular basis. If you are creating a new business or company name, really your effort needs to be in the registered trademarks database. Because if you start from day one with a business or company name that actually infringes a registered trademark, you are unlawfully using your name, and that's a terrible place to start.
Absolutely. And I bet it would be expensive. You know, you're bound to get some kind of legal suit against you. I think a colleague of mine had that happen to him. He just chose a name that he really liked, started trading under it, set everything up, you know, the stationery, the website.
Exactly.
And then he got the knock on the door.
And that's a tragic way to start your first day, that you're actually unable to use the name. And unfortunately, I have found that graphic designers and brand identity consultants do not understand the trademark space. And as fabulous as they are at creating new brands, if you end up creating brands for business that can't be used from day one, that is a significant impost. And I would love to see more graphic designers and brand identity consultants taking time to really understand trademarks. And that's why I created actually online courses specifically for those two industries, because I think it's really quite crucial. And
I was going to ask you a little bit about that. Yeah, so that's obviously for people in the graphic design space and marketing. Yeah.
I've created online training courses for accountants and trademarks, because accountants are often registering business and company names. That's a real, daily activity in an accountancy firm. But if you don't understand the risk that you're creating at that very moment, you are also creating risk for yourself if you're a director and for the business. Well, we've gone over time.
Another 5 minutes. We've done well. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll just quickly explain the second myth, and that myth I alluded to when we spoke last, and that is that because the Copyright Act provides for automatic ownership by the creator or the author, that means that people such as web designers, graphic designers, product developers, software developers, anybody who's creating intellectual property for you, if the right agreement is not used to commission that IP, or say a deed of assignment after that IP has been created, then the reality is they remain effectively the official owner of it, but by virtue of having commissioned them and the Copyright Act, that you have the right to use it.
Yeah.
And that's different though. So if you're trying to create a very valuable business that you intend to sell one day for many millions, the kind of people and corporations that pay millions of dollars for businesses generally have people who know what I know. And when they do their due diligence, they will be asking you for the contracts that prove that you own the intellectual property that you are making as a basis of the value proposition that you're putting forward.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's certainly something to think about, because I think these days we commission so much stuff from graphic designers. I mean, I don't think I ever think about it. I just think, oh yeah, they've made that for me. I get copyright written along the bottom of it, and I don't think about it again.
But there's some really handy legal agreement templates. I also encourage everybody to have a really sound working relationship with an IP lawyer. Lawyers are always cheaper on the front end. And and so preventative lawyerly love is really useful, whereas going to your lawyer when it's gone pear-shaped, that's going to be a different bill, and so be it, because you're cleaning up when you really could have put a good foundation, and that foundation may have been as simple as a good contractor agreement. That foundation could be as easy as a handy 2-page deed of assignment. There are really easy ways of handling this, but if you don't know, you don't know, and I can appreciate that.
That's it, yeah. Well, thank you so much again. Very, very informative, and I'm sure we've given people lots to think about.
I hope so.
And I'm guessing if people want to get in touch with you about your online training course, they can just hunt your name down or find you on LinkedIn.
And KOMOIP.com, and the full range of courses is available. KOMOIP.com/courses, and you'll see them there, and I'm developing new ones all the time.
Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining me again, Alicia. It's been a pleasure talking to you too.
Thank you, Dawn.